The Bad Guys. The Bad Guys is an animated movie with a very interesting style for it because it sort of mixes 3D animation with 2D animation. It's based on a children's book series. These are chapter books, so not all pictures, about a group of bad guys. These are traditional bad characters in children's storytelling, like a snake, played by Marc Maron, and a wolf, played by Sam Rockwell, and a shark, and a piranha, and a tarantula spider. And they're bad, and they pull off heists. It was described by the filmmakers actually as this is a Tarantino movie for kids. And in some ways it is. The opening scene where the wolf and the snake who are friends, it's right out of Pulp Fiction. It's the opening scene. It's Pulp Fiction. It's so good. It's the diner from Pulp Fiction, basically. But that sort of sets up the story of, you meet these characters, they pull a heist, the cops are always after them, they never get caught. And then the wolf has a moment where the wolf does something nice, an act of kindness, an act of selflessness, and feels good doing something good. And that kind of sort of sets the seeds of could the bad guys actually turn good? There's a lot of other intrigue with the governor, right? Just called the governor. I don't know. They never even mentioned really what state they're in, do they?
Well, there's a map, and it's LA. It's Southern California.
Well, definitely looks like LA, but she's the governor, right? So there you go. She's also a fox. Okay, that plays into stuff later. But then they get caught during one of the heists, and the governor gives them a second chance that if they can be rehabilitated through Professor Marmalade, played by what's the actor's name?
Richard Ayoade
from the IT crowd. First of all, I love the IT crowd. That show is so good. If you can catch it wherever it is, I don't know what streaming service it's on. Richard Ayoade, he's great as Professor Marmalade. He's got this and he's basically he's like a guinea pig, right?
Yeah. He's a guinea pig.
He's a guinea pig. Okay, which is weird, but this is a movie for kids that I actually think adults can enjoy. I actually did enjoy all the references. Is it great? No, it's not among the greats like a Pixar. I'm sorry, it's just not. Did I enjoy myself? Yeah, it was fine for an hour and a half. I have some problems, but before I get into the problems, Alan, I have to hear what you thought.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it a lot. I had a really good time, especially as an adult. First thing that struck me was how much I'm in love with this animation style. Very soft colors, almost watercolor with some hand-drawn lines to do the eyes. But I was just enamored by this style, and I'm kind of tired of the, I guess the perfect CG animation that comes out of Pixar and Blue Sky and the other ones. Just the way this was just designed visually is great. And then also, I don't think I've ever seen an animated feature based in LA. I mean, it doesn't say it's LA, but based on the map they show us, and if you've ever lived in downtown LA or the Valley or Hollywood, this is very LA, and that got me really excited as well. So there's a little nostalgia there for me, but it's just fun. It is absolutely fun. The message is be nice. The message is, you're not bad. You're just drawn that way. And so I think this is just kind of the nice, safe film that we wanted to have take our children to without getting some message that we don't need. And, I certainly had a great deal of fun with it. I think the cast was perfect. I'll bring up Awkwafina. She's just got this voice that works perfectly with that tarantula. And so absolutely. If you got kids, go see it. If you don't have kids, you might want to see it as well. It's certainly an alternative from Disney, what Disney's been putting out lately.
Well, I'll say this. It's a refreshing that it's not super woke. I mean, there's not really anything overtly woke about it. In fact, I thought it was really interesting. I don't know if you noticed the fox, the governor. Yeah. She has an eyebrow piercing.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's really interesting. And it's not really obvious. It's it's there. She has an eyebrow piercing. So it's kind of punk. She's kind of punk rock. She's kind of punk rock in that way, and that was something that was not expected. I didn't love it as much as you did. I thought it was fine. I thought it was, refreshing that it wasn't super woke, because a lot of the stuff you see these days, it feels like you can feel when the agenda is being shoehorned in, when it's just like there's a moment where there's a character. I will say this. I'll say this about the movie. Here are the things that really stood out to me. This movie, in terms of the populace of the city, very diverse. I've never seen more of an effort to have like a mix of all types, United Colors of Benetton of people, and it's very overt.
Yeah, but if it takes place in LA, I mean, I hate to say it, but LA is probably the most diverse city in the world.
I'm just saying it was really sort of in there where they showed a lot of the people from the city, and they're all very diverse people. Okay, fine. I don't consider that necessarily wokeness in LA. That's reality, as you pointed out. But it's also, the other thing is the chief of police. I loved the lesbian chief of police. She was great. She was, I mean, isn't it one of the actresses from...
Yes, Alex Borstein.
From Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Yeah.
A show I watched maybe the first half of season 1, and then I lost interest in it.
Yeah, she was on Mad TV as well.
Yeah, so she's like this, and the character's funny. She has these like big teeth and red hair, and like it's a very funny character. It's different than doing a typical type. But here's what bothered me about the movie, if I could point out something really big.
Okay.
And I'm sure everybody in the chat...
I think I know what you're going to say.
Everybody in the chat's going to say, when are you getting to the North? We're getting to the Northman. Don't worry. People are still getting their coffee, and I'm among them. So the logic is that all these people are in this town, and they're humans. They have a governor that's a fox, and then they have these characters that just dress, the animals that dress in clothes, and nobody points it out. You've also got a professor who's a guinea pig. Then you have sort of guinea pigs that are not smart, that are just wild and used for animal experimentation. So the commentary is not like, this is not like anything different that you'd see in like an old Looney Tunes, right? It's just a little bit of commentary on like, hey, they're using guinea pigs for animal testing. Okay. That's in reality too. So, but I don't get the idea of, okay, you've got these intelligent human speaking animals dressing in clothes, just cavorting around with humans. It's not like Zootopia, where it's like all different types of animals, and they're all kind of like living their separate lives, and they're all, this is an integrated world of humans and animals, with the animals being, they have clothes on and they just talk to people like they're just there. I call BS. I call BS on this. And I feel like in the world building, it needed to like explain a little more to me, because there weren't many other animals that were, I don't want to say anthropomorphized. They were, that's not the right word. It's,
they were animals that stood on two legs and talked. I mean,
animals that stood on two legs and talked. And the snake had like, he'd wear like a Hawaiian shirt and a hat. It was just weird. Like, it was weird. Like, so I don't know. Like, I guess you just like, look, no kid is going to sit there and question
I mean, have you not
question it?
Have you not seen a Muppet movie?
Yes, I've seen the Muppet movies.
I mean, really, it's like there's this suspension of disbelief that has to go on.
Well, there's a like
and they're trying to sell toys. They're not going to sell toys of people.
I want to wrap up our conversation about the bad guys. We're going to pivot over to the Northman, but Bad Guys it's a mild recommendation. It's a mild recommendation for me. I feel like the Pixar movies, at least the classic Pixar movies, the older Pixar movies that weren't sort of burdened with the agenda that has seemed to have seeped into everything Disney these days. I feel like it's fun. I mean, it's refreshing just because it doesn't have a lot of that. I mean, sure, it's there, in a little bit, like with the animal testing thing, and they have to rescue the guinea pigs from animal testing. It's like, okay, yeah,
you can't test on cute animals. You gotta do it on the ugly ones.
You gotta do it on animals that are more loathsome, like rats. I'm surprised there's not a rat in the Bad Guys. But look, it's a fine film. It's entertaining, and I just think that the logic, if you really think about it, like I'll tell you this,
it's a kid's movie.
If I was 11 years old and I saw this, I would be bringing up the same complaint, because I told a story. This is on Paulie from Latino Slant. I did his podcast where we just like talked about, actually just a conversation between, and if hail Paulie, I saw him in the chat earlier, subscribe to the Latino Slant. Their focus is mainly Latinos in cinema and Latino cinema in general. He actually recommended a movie to me that I plan to see, that I actually just bought and I haven't seen yet. It's called El Chicano. It's like a Mexican Batman. It's like so I can't wait to see it. And it's like a superhero story. So at very low budget, it looks badass actually. So I watched the trailer. We'll be talking about that in a future show. But Paulie and I got in this whole conversation, and when I was a kid, and I'll tell this story another time because we don't have a lot of time today, lots to get to, about how I didn't like movies when I was a kid because I thought they were fake, because you never saw anyone go to the bathroom in movies. And then I come to find out, if we have time today, I'll tell this story, but come to find out that like there are whole websites dedicated to scenes in movies where characters go to the bathroom, sort of, inconsequentially just go to the bathroom. One in particular, Eyes Wide Shut, Nicole Kidman tinkles in the bathroom right in front of Tom Cruise as they're, getting ready to go somewhere, right? She just sort of does a quick tinkle, It happens in real life. And I always appreciate it. Hail to Paulie in the chat here. El Chicano. I bought the movie on Vudu and I'm watching it and we're going to talk about it. But
maybe I'll take a.
But so it bothered me. It bothered me as a kid that I saw nobody go to the bathroom in a movie. It felt fake to me. I watched The Wizard of Oz, Gone with the Wind, West Side Story. Not one time in any of those films do characters go to the bathroom. And to me, that's fake. And so I call BS on the bad guys for animals wearing clothes and just sort of nonchalantly people just accept them into society. The humans are just like, yeah, whatever. There's a piranha wearing a tuxedo delivering food at a restaurant. That doesn't make any sense. There's a lapse in logic for this movie.
And no one thinks twice about it.
No one thinks twice about it.